Well, good Monday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake the football gods. Oh my goodness. You know what? I am so happy this morning. You know why? I don't know if you guys have noticed. You know, I've got my studio set of things that I have in here and things. And from time to time, I'll add a little something. You know, and when the off season started with, the thoughts of Odell Beckham Jr., you guys have known me for always saying forever that I don't want Odell Beckham Jr. And that is a fact, because I remember, because I'm trying to get you to sleep with, Odell, the guy who finally made the playoffs. What?
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
For the first time with the Giants, beating the Washington Redskins at the time, instead of going back with his team, went to Florida where he hung out with Justin Bieber, a known jinx, and hanging out on the boat and everything else the week before their first playoff game against the Green Bay Packers. In which case, he showed up in 3-degree weather, out in shorts and no shirt before the game, trying to act like I'm Mr. Tough Guy. The cold ain't nothing. And what ended up being nothing was his play, with the exception of punching a hole through the wall after the game. Maybe you should try to punch the hole through a player out on the field. You know, maybe put that passion on the field. But be that as it may, I've said if the Cowboys end up getting Odell Beckham Jr., I'd have to eat crow. Now, I tried to find real crow meat, but it ain't easy. I guess you have to go out and shoot your own crows. So the best thing I could do was I got myself a couple little crows. So I was like, well, with some hot sauce and some ketchup, I could probably eat this if I had to, if Odell came to the Cowboys. Well, don't have to worry about eating no crow now, because he's going to the Baltimore Ravens for, I believe, $15 million guaranteed with incentives up to $18 million. They put voidable years in the contract so that way they could spread out the cap hit. This, my friends, is a last-ditch effort to try and appease Lamar Jackson and get him excited, say, well, look, hey, we got you, Odell. How about you take a little less money? Because, we're trying to get the team together for you, and so on. And you don't have those offers out there. So they're trying to sweeten the kitty a little bit. We'll see if that works at all for Lamar Jackson. I'm just happy that I don't have to look at that damn crow. But it's kind of funny that the crow looked kind of like a raven, that rat bird. I'm just saying, you decide for yourself. All right, so this is an interesting thing to me, because yesterday when we did our live stream, we got lively, we got testy and stuff. And it's funny because we believe everything that we hear. And so as we go through, we're having a discussion about positions and things, about where guys should be drafted. And everybody gets so caught up on, well, he's a third-round guy. You can get him in the third. Okay, maybe you can, or maybe you can't. But his grade is, and we all get caught up in saying, well, he graded this. But see, here's the thing. You can grade real well, but it doesn't have anything to do with what you do in the NFL. That's the honest truth. Drafting in the NFL is like a crapshoot. And it doesn't matter if you draft in the first round or the last round. You got about a 50-50 chance of that person being a player. It doesn't matter where you're drafted or what the draft grades say. I'll give you a case in point. I will give you what actually was the moment that Charles Haley changed his Facebook profile picture to Cowboy Joe Boo, which it's still there today. I used to write for Cover 32. And I did a blog about the bullshit that you get in the draft. Because I compared Tony Mandarich. Okay, a lot of y'all don't know who Tony Mandarich is. But he's up there with Ryan Leaf as some of the biggest busts in the NFL. Tony Mandarich, before the draft, was referred to the best offensive line prospect ever. Ever. Michigan State, top 5 draft pick. Barry Sanders, Derek Thomas, Dion, Troy Aikman were all drafted in the top 5 with this guy. This guy was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and back in the day, that was big. That guy was beast. They said he was going to revolutionize football. Offensive lineman. The new prototypical guy. And he was a bust. Well, no, let me say this. He had a productive career later on. Productive, average. He made it in the NFL for a few years. But he was not the guy that they said. And remember, he was the best prospect ever. I can remember guys like Brian Bosworth, Bust. But here's something a little more relevant for you younger guys out there. Let's go back to last year, okay? Because we were having a discussion about Steve Avila and the other offensive guards. And they're saying, well, he's got a second-round grade. You don't waste the first-round pick on that guy, because he's got a second-round grade. You know, they said that Travis Frederick was a second or third round guy, pick, right? Second or third round is what they said. Cowboys traded back, took a center, and they laughed. I remember Adam Schefter, the Cowboys, they drafted a center in the first round. So there's that. And until he got Hillian Bars, he was one of the best centers in football. Doesn't matter where you draft a guy that's a player as long as you get him on your team. Although it matters to the guy because the higher he's drafted, the more money he'll get. But here's what we had last year from the draft. And mind you, Tyler Smith, prospect grade, 6.33, will eventually be a plus starter. Okay? 6'5", 324, right? His scores, okay, production score, 74. As an offensive tackle, 6th best. Athleticism, 9th. Overall score for an offensive tackle, 6th. 5.02, 40, 27 vertical, 8.9 broad jump. Okay. Bio. Smith was an all-state, wait a minute, is that analysis? Okay. Power merchant who plays the game with a field demeanor and can work in his favor on one play and against him on the next snap. Smith has also displaced defenders on run blocking despite lacking proper hand usage for leverage. He's explosive and athletic, but struggles to sustain and finish what he starts. He's too quick to discard the semblance of techniques in favor of, okay, all right. In other words, he's just average. And mind you, they said that he is a penalty magnet. Okay, so let's take a look at Kenyon Green. Prospect grade, 6.45. Drafted by the Texans before us. Production score, 83. Ranked first. Athleticism, 21st, not real good. Total score, 2nd, 84. He would have been thought to be a sure first-round pick. First-round instant starter. Tyler Smith was thought to be an eventual starter, second-round pick, raw, and a penalty guy. Kenyon Green gave up, I think, 7 sacks last year for the Texans. And needs to turn it around before they get the bust label put on him. So as we go through and we listen to the draft experts. And mind you, Mike Mayock was a draft guru who became a GM for the Raiders and was the worst. Don't get locked in by what you see by these draft grades from these guys. Unless you see the Dallas Cowboys draft board, and I would say the Dallas Cowboys probably do better than what you're seeing on here. They've drafted guys that people have said, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. This is a bust. And they've become great players. So that's my point on all this is if the Cowboys brain trust look at a guy and say, that's the guy that fills our needs, fits our system, and can play, I'll believe it more than when I see at NFL.com draft or ESPN. How about that? Now, this is, of course, that time of year that we start to see the workouts. Now, of course, we haven't seen the Zeke ones yet because, well, Zeke's no longer with us. But Micah Parsons is definitely working on his craft to get better. Let's take a look. Look at him. Look at him. He's putting in the work. Start working on those moves, faking them out, jab, step, and rip. Love it. I love it. You know, I always love seeing our players working on getting to be the best player they can be. All right, so we got a lot of work to do today. The Odell Beckham Jr., like I said, I'm happy that I don't have to eat crow, and I never wanted him. Listen to this morning to Get Up, because now they've got Super Bowl talk for the Ravens.
Odell Beckham, a one-year deal with Baltimore for $15 million guaranteed dollars. He joins the Ravens a month after Lamar Jackson requests a trade. OBJ's last game was in the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. He was the best player on the field, but then he suffered another knee injury and had to have his second ACL. Now, shortly after the news of OBJ to Baltimore breaks, Lamar Jackson posted this image of the two of them, meaning Lamar and OBJ talking on FaceTime. You see the caption, you see the lightning bolts on the right. This is a lot of enthusiasm from Lamar Jackson, who, of course, as we speak, is a Raven in name only. Now, OBJ could become, I want to say this out loud as I get to it, OBJ could become the first Pro Bowl receiver in Ravens franchise history. They have had players who made it as kick returners who were wide receivers, but they've never had a primary receiver make the Pro Bowl in the entire time since they moved there from Cleveland. So let me start with my insider extraordinaire. How did this happen yesterday?
Well, the Ravens just outbid everybody, Greeny. I was told that they sensed the urgency over the weekend because Odell Beckham was set to come to New Jersey today to meet with the Jets and take a physical and possibly sign to play with Aaron Rodgers. There was mutual interest. Ravens jumped in with a huge contract. They essentially said, hey, we're locking this up right now. They've been looking at wide receivers for a while, trademark and everything. They knew with new offensive coordinator Todd Monken and possibly Lamar Jackson that maybe this will help out. They had to get weapons on the outside.
All right, so we have set aside some time to get into this because I feel like there are quite a few different angles that we can take on Odell going to Baltimore. There's obviously the Lamar Jackson of it all. You just mentioned the Aaron Rodgers of it all. Let's start, however, with the amount of money of it all that he gets and the questions. Like, Marcus, that's your guy, right? Your LSU guys, obviously, and all the rest of that. And Odell, at his best, has been spectacular. There was a moment in time when I thought he was the best wide receiver in the National Football League. But to what degree is he a difference-making player now? With the Jets, he would have been an accent piece. He's now going into Baltimore to be the guy.
Don't think that's going to be the move.
Absolutely, he's ready. And it's because of his makeup and who he is, G. We all understand. First of all, we know Odell Beckham Jr. loves the bright lights and the big games. And we've been talking about Lamar Jackson in this situation for the last 2 years. Now, if Lamar Jackson comes back and him and Odell Beckham Jr. have a record-breaking season, and to your point, he becomes the first wide receiver to go to the Pro Bowl, that's in the Baltimore Ravens uniform.
That would be
changes
something.
the entire narrative. This is also his best opportunity to get a long-term deal. This was always about health. It was never about talent or what he could do at the wide receiver position. The last time we saw Odell Beckham Jr. play football, he was trending towards being the Super Bowl MVP. Yep. That's how good he was. And that was with Cooper Kupp opposite of him, who is a phenomenal wide receiver as well. So, look, if he stays healthy and Todd Monken coming over from Georgia and them trying to evolve and expand this offense, and I've been crying for the Ravens to get a wide receiver for I don't know how long, this could be magic. And don't take that Instagram post lightly that him and Lamar Jackson are looking at each other in that particular situation either.
Well, that's obviously where this thing goes. The first thing you said to me when D. Wood walked in this morning, sort of strutting in and ready to go in our meeting this morning, the first thing you said to me was, you think Odell must know something, or think at least he knows something.
I mean, Greeny, this is common sense, right? As much as we talk about the bag, and he got a big bag. Okay?
He got a bag.
He got a big bag.
He got a big bag.
Walk into a situation, if you're Odell, if you don't have some type of inkling that you got some assurances at the quarterback position, okay? Because not only does he want to get paid this year, which he's going to get paid, but he also wants to get set up to possibly get a long-term deal like Swagger was talking about. So, listen, we saw the Instagram post yesterday. We saw that, those guys letting it be known like, okay, now we got something. Lamar Jackson got a guy in Odell Beckham Jr. If he's healthy and he's ready to go, that could be a true difference maker in that offense.
So I want to hold this thought. Hold on, Marcus. I want to hold this here because the most important question this begets is the one we're going to answer next. We're going to ask Jeremy Fowler, and we're going to give you the insight from Marcus and Damian.
NFL, where the Ravens made a splash
Okay,
yesterday.
so should the Cowboys have signed Odell at $15 million? I'm looking at that and saying no. No, it was too much. Good luck, Baltimore Ravens. Good luck, Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know if this changes the Aaron Rodgers situation, because I know Aaron Rodgers was looking for him. But, hey, we'll have to wait and see what's going on. But I know one thing. I got a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks and 2 days. I'm Mark Holmes, and, well, you know how we roll.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is